those things around. I need crew to move back, please, while I release him out.
Okay.
Please. Crew, move all the way back. He's trying to take over my body. Just move all the way. I said move back!
The following program has been filmed for your entertainment. However, viewers may find some scenes disturbing. The convent, the residence of the governor, the seat of the Foreign Office in Gibraltar, and rumour has it, the setting for one of the most famous ghost stories on the rock. This week, on the Ghost Trail, we'll be looking for the Grey Lady.
My name is Michael Scott, and I'm the skeptic. Obviously, at a very complicated level, or extensive level, I'd like to see like some sort of scientific research done where there's a peer review process and it ends up with sort of a lot of data suggesting that, pointing to the specific claim that ghosts exist.
My name is Kieran Potter. I'm a believer and a member of the Gibraltar Paranormal Society. What's important, not just in this subject, but generally in life, is to be open-minded and accept that there could be something different.
I've never done anything like this before. I've never exposed myself to paranormal activity, ghosts. It's not that I have a particular interest in it, but I know that a lot of people do, and I know that this will make for excellent television. Now, another of the sites that we're going to be visiting is the convent. Now, the archives are part of the convent complex, so I can imagine that you're familiar with the stories associated, the more macabre stories associated with the convent.
That's absolutely right. I think everyone who works in the convent has probably heard of the story of the Grey Nun. It's anecdotal, but probably to all intents and purposes true. The story I've heard, again I'm not entirely sure if this is, I can't verify this with any documentary evidence, but the story is that there was a nun, this was obviously a convent at the time, and a nun fell in love with someone she shouldn't have, and somebody either related to someone, I forget the exact details, but effectively she was walled up alive within the convent complex, and it's said that to this day she walks the floors of the convent. Now I can certainly tell you, as somebody who works within the convent, that I've been here sort of a late evening, early afternoon on my own, and there's all sorts of noises and voices, and I tend to err on the skeptical side, but I can certainly tell you that this place can have a very eerie feel to it.
We're moving on to possibly the most famous ghost story in Gibraltar, or the most famous haunted location, which is the convent. What can you tell us?
The convent, obviously, the Grey Lady, that's the nun that's supposed to appear in the cloisters and in the corridors of the convent. The legend tells us that this young girl, Alitea de Lucerna, fell in love with a young man who was a nobody, you know, and she was of noble blood. And her father heard about it, so he said, no way are you going to marry this chap. So he stuck her in a convent. And the boyfriend heard about it, and he actually joined the monks so that he could be near her. and they would see each other in the confessions, you know, in the confessional, until her brother found out. Her brother found out that the couple were going to elope. So they were waiting for them. They were going to get in a boat, most probably to sail across to Tangier or whatever. And they were surprised, and the boyfriend unfortunately fell overboard and drowned. What a pity, you know. And she was brought back. She was judged by the clerical court, whatever they had, you know, and she was condemned to be buried alive, right? And she was buried alive somewhere around the convent, where we don't know where, but that's how the legend goes, that her spirit, her ghost, is seen around wandering about. Many people have seen her, and mostly the people who have seen her are people who didn't know about her.
It was during a summer's afternoon, about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, really warm July afternoon. There was two of us coming to the squash court here to have a game of squash. And on the way across, one of the chaps got diverted to go and pick up some signals. So as I came into the squash court to warm the squash ball up ready to play, I gets to the squash court here where I starts to warm the ball up. And as the ball came back to the back of the court, I actually noticed a figure just stood there. But I thought it was the other guy who crept in behind me. So I actually spoke to it and I said, and about time too. But as I picked the ball up, I looked back at the figure, it had gone, disappeared.
Lady Johns, we've heard about all the stories about the Grey Lady and everything that has happened in the convent. Can you just tell us what your experience is of living in these four walls and the stories that you've heard?
Yeah, I've never actually experienced anything myself. I can say it's a very happy place, very calm and friendly. My cousin came to stay about 18 months ago in one of our formal guest rooms. She did know the legend of the ghost, but that night she felt someone or something get into bed with her. She said it was the flesh was cold, freezing cold, plump, and she felt it was feminine, someone, perhaps a young person, who was looking for reassurance or comfort. And it was about she felt 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and she thinks she shouted or screamed and said, "Get out of my bed," or "Leave me alone," or something. She wasn't frightened. She didn't feel a fear, but she just was annoyed. And whatever it was slid out of the bed. She said there was no sound. She couldn't hear anything. And our first thought was maybe somebody had got in there, but actually all their doors were locked, because we have security guards going around at night, and we always advise our guests to secure their doors.
And we've heard all sorts of stories about things being moved about and some sort of mischief being played with objects around the building.
Yes, indeed. During Lady Fulton's time, she held a ladies' lunch in the small dining room, and there are several people in Gibraltar here now who were at that lunch. They actually saw wine bottles moving around the table, and their first reaction was maybe it was a varnished surface and the bottle was slipping. But when they examined it, the bottle had napkin wrapped around it. And it made a positive movement of about 2 or 3 feet in one direction, and then later moved back again, and they all saw it.
It was a Franciscan monastery in the 16th century, the Order of St. Francis. And the original monastery, prior to around 1528, was actually in what the garden is today. The present convent came later. And again, working there when there were some roadworks to Lovers Lane, which is the back of the convent towards the Mackintosh Hall side, I do remember that we found, there was a little patch just under the wall, we found lots of human remains. And it looked like an ossuary, a place where remains were being put.
Samantha Donbavand says she can speak to those who have left our mortal realm. However, she has never been to Gibraltar before, she doesn't know where we're taking her, and she hasn't done any prior research.
I work on many different levels to motivate, inspire and educate people to move forward and improve in all areas of their life, whether that's channeling someone's loved one because they're suffering from grief and doing this spiritual healing and connection, or whether that's somebody needing hypnotherapy, clinical hypnotherapy for weight loss. The work's personalised for client, so they get exactly what they need at that time.
Everything you see in this part of the program actually happened.
as if I'm just being guided that whenever I'm channeling from these souls, they're very pure. Everything's there's a holy feel from it, and I've just intuitively been guided to keep it very pure while I'm in this space. I've got to be respectful and use the Roman chamomile, which is quite, I'm just wanting to kneel, and I'm just very humbled with being in this space.
All right, well, we'll just follow you.
Here, there's something quite paramount about the clock. I'm getting energetically from that. So
in this room?
Yeah, just here. So there's something about this area why I've been forced to just sit and contemplate.
Okay.
It's this type of...
Do you want to go into this room? Yes?
Something about, yeah. There's a dignity with this lady who's wanting me to channel. There's a dignity. There's something about the energy, the male energy around. There's a dignity. There's like a dignity that's like, this shouldn't be allowed. The men, this shouldn't be allowed. It's like it's like it shouldn't be allowed. Whereas it's still allowed. There's just something to do with the men being in here. It shouldn't be allowed. This lady's not liking it at all. It's just something about the men being in here that is really not resonating for. It's coming again full circle in this time.
Okay.
The Roman chamomile, there's just something, this gentler energy I'm channeling, there's just something, but it's coming full circle. So whatever the protection is here, and it is hugely protected as I'm stood, there's protection around this building, okay?
Do you want to go outside?
Yeah, there's something quite, significant about that.
Can you say who?
These people who highly religious, what I need to say. A safe haven. This is the safe haven, but there's something to do with that, which is why I've been drawn out here to the tree. Again, we're talking about energy vortexes, as you know, we'll work on that level. There's something there that's significant. It's as if they knew, it's as if they felt something above me. I don't even know what that signifies, but that's what I'm getting. What I will have to do is channel. I'm aware that they want to channel. What I'm going to have to do, because of the male, it's different compared to where we just were. I've got to respect. So this is just going to have to be either you, one person. There's something about this, the men. Something about that she's really not happy with. But that up there is really, there's stuff there that I don't even want to go into up there.
So
but
we go back inside?
Please, and let this lady, yeah.
Okay, so there's one lady that...
There's lots of ladies, but there's this main lady. She would be in charge of all the ladies. She wants to channel information.
So in order for this lady to talk to us, what...
There's all the men and it's so much men.
Okay, so if it was just...
Spirit do have feelings and thoughts, like the last place we were, I could channel, and there was that much aggression and anger, they just wanted to speak their truth. There's an importance, the timing is right. So whatever it is that they're showing me, which is happening full circle, the natural disasters, premonition, whatever it is that they had in this area, it's related to up there, and it's relating to that.
That makes a lot of sense. So shall we go to perhaps a room where just you and I can talk?
I can just channel this.
I was going to ask you that you were immediately drawn to this room when we first started. Any particular reason?
I feel like peace here. I feel it could be somewhere where someone passed away peacefully. Thank you. Yeah, someone passed away peacefully here is what I get. I just feel quite at peace here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, to be able to channel this lady. So it could be the lady who was here. But yeah,
Is this room hers then?
let me just check. Not necessarily hers, but she would be in here.
Okay.
Not necessarily her bedroom, but she would be in here. She'd be doing things here. So whoever this lady is, yeah, but it's not. It wasn't particularly her. I mean,
What can you tell me about her?
you want to channel her or
Yes.
describe her or
Whatever you feel is right.
get that she was kind of in charge. There's lots that she had to do. Fear with men again. There's something to do with the men. Like this. So I don't know whatever that means. It's like this type of symbol is what I'm being shown from her. So I don't know what that would mean. Not so much this, but this. Like a cross of. I don't know. It's like two. I don't know. It's like a symbolism. It's like a cross of two swords. Just something like this is what she's shown me. Like a coat of armour type of protection. It's very humble. Just very humble. Most of the souls that were here did go up. They already had the awareness to go up to the light when they passed over. If that would make any sense. There was already an awareness. There wasn't as much of a disjolt.
So why is this lady still around?
Part of her soul contract was to stay earthbound, but she's decided to stay earthbound till something comes out from this. There was, what I get is ancestors. There's lots of ancestors that have all, it's like it's like coming full circle again. It's like the same pattern. There's lots of ancestors that are coming through that would all do the same. It would be that pattern. So yeah, she's not willing to go up yet until some truth is going to be heard. So in that respect, it will be, I feel, whatever work I do up at being shown the work that I've just, whatever area it was that I tuned in, that has made me feel very, very sad. That area up there, there's something about the importance of that. There's a huge reason why she's drawn me to the tree, why she's drawn me to that area, and why I've had to go and link with that. So that's what I get. There's a huge protection. It's like the knowledge has to continue. Who else is going to take the knowledge forward about this without spreading fear? This is the theme of fear that coming through very strongly. As I picked it up and someone in the group, that was why I had to just bring you guys here, because she could feel the fear, and that basically that fear was what started it all thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago. That type of thing where it's the same. It's a fear. There's a fear rippling through, and this was an area. This place where I am was an area of protection. It was trying to eradicate the fear, but it was already being fed. It was already being fed. Okay, that's what I get.
Are there any stories associated with this? What this place is now, it's the residence of the governor.
Okay.
It used to be a convent many years ago, and it's now the residence of the governor. There's a story about one of the nuns who was found.
In this room?
No, she was found to be unfaithful to her
Yes.
vows, and as a punishment, she was walled up alive in one of the. We don't know if it's true or not. It's just a legend. But there's a ghost that haunts these corridors of a lady called the Grey Lady.
Okay.
We don't know who she is, but a lot of people have seen her. after having seen Samantha move around the halls and giving her interpretation of the emotions that she's felt, the contact that she says she's made with some of the former residents of this building, can you tell us whether anything rings true with anything that you've heard about the place?
Well, I think I was quite amazed actually, because she instantly homed in on the bedroom that we call the nun's room. And it was in the corner of that room, in the wall, at the base of that wall actually, that the young nun was supposed to have been bricked in by the Inquisition.
And that's where she was standing?
Yeah, in that room. She was elevated by a layer, but we can't get in the room below. But that is certainly the room where my cousin felt it. We've heard tales of other people who have had experiences in there. There was apparently a bishop came to stay, and in the night, a bucket of water or something was thrown over him. And people have related that to the story of the nun's boyfriend who got drowned off Rosia Bay, and that this was some sort of connection with water. And he was a bishop. So.
She kept making references to being surrounded by men and the fact that she didn't feel comfortable with so many men around her. In fact, to record that interview, we had to go into a separate room. What do you think of that?
Well, I think that's quite natural. She was supposedly a young aristocratic Spanish girl, so presumably very well protected. Her parents put her into a convent, a nunnery, because of her relationship with this young boy. So she was always surrounded by women. And of course, when she was brought back from the aborted escape, it was the Spanish Inquisition who actually punished her by putting her in the walls. So maybe she's right. You know.
And what of her instinct to leave the building itself and go out into the gardens? She actually seemed to know the way out into the gardens, and she made a beeline for one particular tree that was outside.
I thought that was quite interesting. The only thing I can think was that maybe that's the way they escaped, or the way she was brought back, because of course the sea was a lot closer. This is the line wall at the edge of the convent, and that's where the sea was. So maybe that was the route she took, or maybe she met her young man out there. I don't know.
Believe in it or not, it's just an experience that you would have probably never seen in your life, and I'm sure that at some point some things may make you think.
Yeah. Basically I'm at the stage where there's certain things that have happened that are difficult to explain, but that's where buck stops for me.
Yeah.
Kind of, I don't make the next leap towards like, well, it must be this or that or the other, but I'm open-minded as to what the explanation could be.
I think what I like about this little group is that although we all come from different walks of life and we are at different stages in our belief spectrum, I think we're all respectful of the fact that everyone has their own path in life, and we are where we all are, and we've come together on this crossroad, and we're doing this project together.
Absolutely.
If the grey lady could see us now, perhaps she'd be smiling at that.
Next week on the Ghost Trail.
We go to the old St. Bernard's Hospital, a site where hundreds, thousands of patients have died over the years. We find out who's still walking the corridors.